My name is Jeff. I watch movies sometimes.
And I'm Karsten. I also watch movies sometimes. You're listening to the Carscast Moviecast.
What episode is it?
I'm going to say 59th. Hello. Welcome to the 59th episode of the Carscast Moviecast. Jeff, I have a quick question before we get into it. In what year did Pac-Man make its U.S. debut?
I don't know, like 1988?
It was just 1980. So
It was just 19. Okay,
We'll
so I
give
was
it-
right for like 2 seconds before I finished the year.
You said 1980, and I was like, oh, he's got it, but unfortunately he didn't. Today we have a very special guest, someone I'm very excited about. Second guest Jeff has brought in.
The first one was my brother.
First one was his brother.
Oh,
so
okay.
this is
Dude, that's awesome.
Dan
take that.
White. Good to have you here.
Hello, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, of course. You were one of my I'm sure some of you have seen his tweets. You have one of my favorite Twitter accounts out there.
Oh, thanks,
You're
brother.
part of one of my favorite improv teams. Probably my favorite improv team.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
very excited to have you
Improv's
here.
not super hot right now. So.
No, definitely not the thing to promote right now. But
Yeah.
good to
I
have you
appreciate
here.
it, dude. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you. I was gonna close my closet, but I literally just organized it yesterday, so I thought
it looks very clean.
thought I might flex on you guys a bit.
So
Look at that organization.
have
And if you can see right there, you see
Ooh.
those empty hangers.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
this side over is my nice like work clothes, and then that side are my little play clothes.
Mhm.
Oh, the play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hyper organized.
Just a bunch of overalls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like
Yeah, just all overall.
improv is a really easy joke to make right now about social distancing, because like not your team, but like a lot of teams don't have anyone who show up to the shows.
Yeah, I mean, well, we have had those shows too, but yeah, I mean, it's true.
See, I'm fine saying that
6
to
feet.
you because people go to your shows.
Yeah.
Oh well, thanks.
So that
yeah, I don't
isn't
know. I
mean.
just read that there was that Middle Ditch and Schwartz show is out, and Vulture had a review that was a pretty fair overall review, but there was some brutal realities about improv and the improv culture. What are you
Yeah.
gonna do?
Did that have anything to do with like how that was filmed? So like improv is kind of all about being there.
Yeah, I think the article. I mean, I haven't seen the show. I think the article was really complimentary of the show. I think
Okay.
it was not even necessarily critical, but just kind of presenting a lot of different opinions about it. And it was more about the art form in general, especially with UCB just closing down in New York in their
Yeah.
former capacity. Like, I think that's like people are talking a lot about the future of it and if it's a sustainable thing. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Twitter's not going anywhere. I know that. So
Got that going.
Yeah, your shithead nephew is still
yeah.
pulling a fast one.
Yeah,
on you.
I can continue to circulate the same 5 joke formats and slowly gain followers.
You're on a movie podcast. I don't know if you've done a lot of podcasts in general. Is this one of your first? Because I tried to research like Dan White to see, and there's a lot of Dan Whites out there. So
I know the guy who killed Harvey Milk.
yeah.
You
Wait,
guys-
really?
You guys familiar about that? Yeah, I share a name with a historical villain.
Wow. Well,
Closeted gay senator was like had a lot of internal hatred for himself and kind of went postal and killed Harvey Milk, who was like a gay rights activist
Yeah.
and popular senaer. So not a great name.
Not a great
and my dad's a
name.
history teacher, which is like doubly insulting.
Well, yeah. Are you a big
Also a magician on the Tonight Show.
that
Wait,
was my
what?
first thing that I when I searched Dan White, it was just copious amounts of clips of magic.
Yeah, I know. That dude's like super
Okay.
big time.
For a
Yeah.
second, I thought you were saying your dad was a magician on the Tonight Show.
No, my dad's a history teacher, but I
Because you
share
said
a
a
name
history
with his-
teacher, and then you flipped
Then
and
just
said also a
segued
magician on
quickly.
the Tonight Show, and I'm like, wait, your dad? And then okay, I got it. Dan White.
Yeah.
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 So you are my mom's favorite person that I know.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's like I think the best compliment you could probably give a person. Well, why is that?
I don't know. It's because like I took her to Fudge that one time and you talked to her for like 30 minutes.
Oh yeah, well she's
And then
a very
afterwards, she
lovely
was,
woman.
yeah,
Interesting
she's also a
perspective.
patron of this podcast. So I just
gonna
wanted to
say,
throw
yeah.
that out there.
Oh,
It's mainly
hell
because she's
yeah.
going to listen to this.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. Well, I'll send it to my parents. My mom probably won't listen, but I'll.
Yeah. My mom listened to the first episode, and then she's like,
Yeah?
I just have so much to catch up on. And I'm like, you don't have to catch up on all.
After the first episode, she was like,
Yeah.
I can't.
First
I'm
of
too
all,
far behind.
It's not like
It's like
you
this
have
is
to.
a serial podcast.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
don't have to listen to 38 to be here, but sure.
I love that.
I guess you do to understand the meme of the week stuff, but that's a different conversation.
The what is it? The theme
It's one of
the
our
week?
segments.
We have
It's
a-
called Meme of the
Oh,
Week.
oh! I thought you were talking. Okay.
Yeah, because we have a subreddit where people make memes.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Yeah,
the thing.
we'll show you. We'll do a screen sharing thing at the end. You can see a few of them.
Yeah.
At the end.
Well, I'm very interested because I feel like you guys are both super plugged into. I won't say the deep web because that's not it, but like this part of the internet that makes me feel a million years old because I go try to figure it out and I'm like I can't. There's these like sub communities of people. I see it on Twitter all the time, like jokes and stuff pop up where I'm just like, what is? I don't get even what this is. And then by the time I've like figured out, it almost like teaches me a new piece of technology, you know, because people are making fun of it.
Mhm.
And by the time I figure it out, it's like already passe. So
Yeah.
I have my like.
To be fair, I'm also feeling pretty out of touch nowadays. I
Really?
am feeling very old with like, especially, I don't know if it's just me or if you guys are on the same page with this, but I can't understand like why people like TikTok so much. I really
Oh yeah,
just
I'm in that. I understand. I agree.
even the funny ones, I'm like, it still just doesn't hit with me. I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, I will say, I think social media makes. I mean, inevitably, when you in your mid to late 20s, and then certainly in your early 30s, you start feeling older.
Right.
And social media really, like, I think puts that into hyperdrive because a whole generation of people are communicating in a way that didn't exist when you were their age. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that is something that that makes me feel really old for sure. Of just like, you know, what I used when I was 21, and now what's, you know. I don't even
Right.
TikTok. I think has kind of gained popularity pretty quickly in like the last 2 years, and I'm like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
far
because I'm
behind.
almost as old as you.
Yeah, I'm 31.
Yeah, and I'm 28.
Okay.
Because I still was the point where smartphones weren't a thing until I was in college.
Oh yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Wow. I was just clearing out the basement. Actually, it's funny, Jeff. I just cleared out the box of Whiffler Research Group stuff from the web series we shot. Like I've had that sitting in my basement for 2 years, and but when I was going through, I found I think it was my wife's an original iPhone, like the iPhone 1, and I was
Yeah.
like, holy cow,
It's like
this thing
it's so blocky.
yeah, it's crazy.
Did you guys
It looks more like a Game Boy than a iPhone.
Yeah.
Did you guys get that like when it first came out, were you on the hype immediately or did it like take some warming up to it? Because I know it was kind of intimidating at first.
I got the BlackBerry Storm.
Okay.
You guys remember that?
Yeah,
Yep.
my mom had like the BlackBerry Pearl with like the little spinny
Oh,
ball.
the spin, yeah,
Right.
Yeah,
the trackball, yeah. I had the BlackBerry Storm, which was like a full touchscreen, but the screen actually clicked when you and it did
that's
not
so
work.
weird.
It was terrible. It like did not work at all.
yeah. I had I think the second iPhone, like the 3G, which I feel like was the second one.
That's when they got the
Okay.
App Store.
Yeah, that's the one I got like right when I went to college.
Yeah. I was in 5th grade when this was all happening, just to put things into perspective. I was very
When the iPhone came out?
Yeah, because my dad gave me his when he got I think it was the 3G. He gave me his original iPhone, and I was in like 6th grade when that happened. So I'm
Oh,
assuming
okay.
I was, it was
Yeah.
like 5th grade when the first one came
So
out.
how old are you? Like 23, 24?
I'm 22 now. Yeah,
Oh, 22. Okay. Oh, wow. I guess it was. I guess
Yeah.
I thought it came out.
just
soon.
a little
Okay.
baby. But anyways, that's phone talk for the week. I also feel like we talked about this before I came on, but I shaved my head this week. I wanted to get that out for the pod listeners now. And I just
great.
I would recommend it to everybody. It feels really good. Yeah, I don't know if you guys would ever do it, but I'm a big fan.
What spurred you to do that? Just like quarantine.
Well, mine was just getting, I dyed it, and then I didn't like the dye, to be honest. I did it once
Really?
before in like October, and I really liked how it looked, and I was like, you know what, we'll do it again, and it's second time around, it wasn't as exciting, and so that's not but it was getting long anyways, so there were a lot of reasons, is what I'm trying to say, but.
Did you do the blonde dye, the like
Yeah,
the bleach black?
yeah, I bleached
blonde?
it, and then I wanted to go pink, and then it got orange, and then here it is gone. So
Yeah.
that's how it works. But
Yeah, because you had it orange around Halloween as well, but it wasn't on purpose that
No.
time also, right?
yeah, no, it's very
Is it
hard
supposed
to
to be
get
pink then
to pink.
too?
Yeah, yeah, pink is a very hard color to pull off, is what I've realized twice now. But I'm enjoying the buzz so far. So
It looks good.
It
man.
ends nice, yeah.
And it's about to be hot outside.
It's gonna be hot, exactly. Even though we can't really spend that much time outside. But what are you gonna do?
You got a YouTube channel to maintain.
I got. Well, we could start talking about today's movie, which is "Mistaken for Strangers," a 2013 documentary directed by, I forget was it Tom?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And I forgot how to pronounce his last name.
I think it's Burninger.
Burninger. Okay.
Something like that, yeah.
It is.
They're my favorite band, so I should know that, but I think it's Burninger.
Okay. Cool. See, I was gonna ask because I personally have never heard of this documentary. It's got a pretty big following now that I've done some research. And mostly,
Oh, does it really?
Yeah, there.
I didn't know that.
Some really like dedicated fans, and it all makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming I didn't hear about it because I'm personally never been a huge fan of The National, but I just really haven't heard their music, so I didn't know.
Yeah.
But I honestly am a pretty big fan now. I've been listening to one of their albums, the one that's like mostly black on the cover. That one.
Oh, yeah. The System Only Dreams in Total Darkness.
Yeah, really like that one, but that's getting into music.
Yeah, that's a great one.
But so my point is I really didn't know what to think going into this, but I ended up really enjoying it a lot. It was super entertaining, and I guess I'll read the synopsis before we go any further for anyone who didn't know about it. Filmmaker Tom Berninger follows members of the National as they embark on an international tour. That's all it is. Have you... Okay, well, I'll start by asking Dan. That you recommended this movie for us to talk about, Dan.
Yeah.
And I'm curious...
Can I take a really quick step back? I just want to clarify which
Okay.
album you're listening to. Are you listening to Sleep Well Beast, or are you listening to Boxer?
I am listening to Sleep Well Beast. Yep.
Okay, yeah, that's the one that has a... Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
It's really nice.
That's probably their most, like, rock-heavy one, I feel like.
Yeah, it feels very like what the album cover looks like, I guess.
Yeah,
the best way to
I believe
describe
that's the one that they won the best. I think they won a Grammy for that one,
it. Ooh,
like best alternative album or something.
Good for
that
them.
one. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure that's the one.
yeah. Well, real quickly, Dan, why did you choose this? I didn't know what to expect with what you would recommend, but this was kind of out there, so I'm curious why you chose this one.
Yeah, well, so The National is my favorite band, and I am a big fan of them for a lot of reasons. And I think that one of the things I liked about Mistaken for Strangers is it combines so many different elements of what I love about The National, and so like there's kind of this, I guess, basket over here of things that I like. I like that I'm a big National fan, and it gives a lot of like behind the scenes access to my favorite band, which I'm into. But I also think that it stands alone as its own like piece of art in a way that I've never seen another movie do. I think it. We can get into this more, but I think the single thing I like most about it is that it walks the line between real documentary and kind of performance art in a way with the relationship with Tom and Matt that I, to this day, and I think I've probably watched it 4 or 5 times, I still don't know everything that's real and everything that's because it's not like real and fake. Like it's everything essentially is real, but I think that they're playing at an angle for certain things, and it's how much of Tom and everybody else is in on the joke. And so I love that element of it. I feel like that Joaquin Phoenix movie from like 10 years ago, is it like what's it called? You know what I'm talking about, where he went on Letterman and was crazy, and they tried to do this whole performance art thing, and it was like then he was back in movies a year later. Like
was it I'm Still Here? Is that what it's called?
Yes, that's it. I was thinking I'm Not There, but I think that's the Bob Dylan movie, right? Yeah.
Something.
So I feel like that's what that movie tried to do. And I think this movie, it's much smaller scale, and you don't have an A-list celebrity like Joaquin Phoenix. Matt Berninger is a rock star, but like, you don't have that A-list celebrity kind of doing that performance art thing that feels a little put on. And I think it does a great job of like walking that line of reality and an artistic statement that I am just super into. And I love the themes of it, especially as they relate to like art and fame and all these different things. So,
yeah, because I honestly have not listened to very much of The National. But before I watched it on Amazon, like on the poster, it says the funniest movie like since Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
So which is like not at all what this movie ended up being like. So I thought it was gonna be much more of just like a straight up like mockumentary, situation. And it was like the themes were much deeper and not as like overtly nonsense.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
It definitely.
I think Spinal Tap is
pretty silly. I mean,
I
think it like cuts like halfway in when they kind of fire Tom, and then it becomes, because I think it is kind of two different movies, like you were saying, which makes it hard to differentiate what's real and what's not. And I think when it comes down to how he's going to make the movie, I think that's when I start. I don't know. That's the part that I really appreciated and found super authentic about it. But yeah.
I mean, I think that is my, and I will say too, and I'm unless there may be something out there I haven't heard or listened to, but I'm a pretty big National fan, and I listen to a lot of stuff. Matt Berninger is just a really interesting guy to me, and he's never, as far as I know, everyone in the National has always insisted that this is a 100% authentic documentary, and I have no doubt that like, it's real, and that they gave him that job. He was out there, he was doing it. The thing that I question as a creative and as somebody who like who writes or makes films or whatever, like he plays at an angle of he's the fuck up brother, and Matt is an international superstar, and it's such an interesting duality how the stuff with the mom of how she talks about them growing up, and I think they play at this thing, and like the stuff of him getting fucked up in the van and like singing like the Christmas songs at night, like that stuff is so funny. But I think the reality to me is the movie turns out to be such a perfectly packaged like dissection of those ideas that it's kind of, to me, it's like he can't be as big of a fuck up as he is the whole movie, because he eventually put this brilliant film together from all this footage. I don't know how much, supposedly Corinne Berninger, Matt's wife, helped him with it, but and I know she's, I don't know her exact backstory, but I know she's, very talented, creative as well. But that's for me the biggest question mark, and to really love a movie and appreciate it and not fully know the the backstory of what is intentional and what is happenstance is kind of why I love it. Because every time I watch it, I think I go back and forth with certain parts of it.
Yeah. I think it's also super cool to look at now, because this came out in like 2013, which is 7 years ago, which feels way longer than it should be. But it's movies like this that kind of make me sad by the end, because I look up, for example, Tom, to see what he's done since.
Yeah.
And it's always I mean, he hasn't really done a lot since. So I don't know. That was also just, by the end of it, I just wanted to know more about where he went and see like how he turned out. And I think that made him, again, more of an interesting character for me. I mean, like, this is a real guy at the end of the day, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been great if he would have gone on to be a,
Yeah, and who knows?
start
I mean,
making
he could be making
Marvel movies or something, but
Right.
yeah. I mean, the National has been very successful since, and that's I mean, they were successful when that they were maybe I think it's interesting too, just like the timelines of bands, like that album came out right after what's the name of that album? Hold on here. I think it's Trouble Will Find Me, which was like a bit that was, I think, like one of their most commercially successful albums.
Yeah.
And I think their popularity was at a real high, but also it was at a high with a specific demo, which 7 years later has like kind of aged a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think their like total popularity is probably bigger now after winning the Grammy and stuff, but I think they probably have a little bit of an older fan base. So it's interesting like how that plays into it. Like, they've always been a cool band to me because they, in the movie they show it, they go on tour like across Europe, and seeing Tom tag along in like all these places is like so fun. But they're just like a fascinating band in general to me, and seeing that element of Tom is so fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's another thing that I really appreciate about this film, is that it could have just been about Tom, but I think they deal with Matt in a lot of interesting ways too. Because I, guiltily enough, like, have always looked at the National, and I like, the only thing I really know about them is Matt as the front guy. He's just like the guy with the beard.
Yeah.
And he always just came off as kind of pretentious or just not an inviting guy to me.
Dude, that's so funny, because I feel like completely the opposite.
By the end of this, I felt the complete opposite. I was like, I looked up at so many interviews with him. I was like, I just want to know way more about him, because he's honestly such a interesting guy. He's super funny.
He's so funny. He's so interesting. He's, if I could pop off on the National a little bit, because it's like they are like, one of the things, I think one of the reasons I love the National is because they're one of the few bands that they got big, they got famous like in their mid to late 30s. And Matt and who was the other one? I can't remember the other guy. They had like all known each other. It's two sets of brothers and Matt.
Yeah, right.
And two of them are twin. The Desinger brothers are twins, and they're all like, everyone in that band is super talented. Like the twin brothers are like classically trained. They do. One of them plays with what's that guy's name? Fuck, I should have done some research before this. I'm sorry, I came in dry. I can't remember. But anyways, they tour all over with like a bunch of different bands, and they're like, they'll teach. They're like very classically trained. And Matt, I read, and I don't know if this has changed, but he can't even read music. So like the lead singer, and it was really cool when that album came out, when Sleep Well Beast came out, the New York Times did this was like a 5-minute kind of behind the scenes on the album, but it was cool to watch him interact, because Matt can't read music, and he's working with these musicians who are like absolute masters of their craft, like widely regarded as some of the best guitar players and instrumentalists out there. And Matt writes all the lyrics and stuff. And so, but the way they communicate, which is fascinating to me, is like, they're just talking, and Matt will be like, okay, when you guys do that like thing, like he doesn't know, he can't even verbalize like the correct terminology for the stuff, but they have like found this relationship that is just, they have a sound all their own. I'm so into that dynamic of like how that exists, and also the fact that they didn't get famous till later in life. That's why I think he's kind of approachable, because they all have this like humility about him, where they're not like, he's definitely a rock star, but he has a lot of like silliness and humility to him. Like, he worked in advertising, I think,
I saw
said
that,
he,
yeah.
I think he said he made $1 million before he was 30 and then lost a lot of it. Like he was like the first, that's what it was. He was like the first group out of Miami of Ohio to get like a coding degree. Like he was one of the first like coders, like people who learned how to code for computers. And so he went to New York and worked in advertising and made a killing, but always wanted to be in a band. And so then they all met up in the band, which another reason I like them is because they're from Ohio. And so
yeah, I was going to ask you that.
my wife just walked in. Sorry, guys.
Little flex there. He's married.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has the hand up.
What's that? Yeah.
They have the hand with the ring.
So that's my wife.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I was going to ask you just because obviously I know you're from Ohio and the band's from Ohio. And you went to Ohio State?
I did, yeah.
You're very Ohio.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah,
I
so
am
does
very
that
Ohio,
make
yeah.
you...
Well, not
like,
anymore, but I grew up very Ohio.
Yeah. But, I mean, also you were a track star. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Oh, you were a track
You
star.
said Ohio State. You set some records.
Yeah.
For,
I don't think you can see them, but
middle
my
distance running.
my track spikes from college are like right there somewhere.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
In the
I kept
closet.
That's a
those.
crazy closet you got.
I know, it's so organized.
We could have been a great triathlon trio. I mean, I swim.
Yeah? Were you a swimmer? I was
Yeah,
going
I
to
was
say.
a huge swimmer.
You got
Jeff,
the body for it.
Thank you, Jeff. I don't. Were you into cycling? I really hope you were.
Not
but
really, but
Okay.
like, I mean, if you guys pull your weight, I can maybe just like coast.
we can make. Yeah.
I think cycling, I think, is the most important one. It might be
Definitely most
running.
important. Yeah.
One of the
Right.
two.
I
I think
know
it's
you're supposed to
cycling, right? Where
draft
you can put the
behind
biggest
people.
distance on people.
Yeah.
No offense, but I think swimming's like the least,
Hey,
right? Swimming's the one where
I
you
hear
can't put as much distance on people, I feel
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. Well,
We-
especially in triathlons, they're in like one giant body of water.
Yeah.
Usually, it's chaos. But
Yeah, we looked up like Carson's swimming times when he was swimming, and he set some times that would have been gold medal times in like the 60s.
Really?
could have been a star. Yeah. I was just
Where,
too.
did you swim? You didn't swim in college at DePaul, though, did you?
No, I wish DePaul had a swim team, but they just had the rec or the
Yeah.
ray.
Yeah, and also with the new bald head, like that's even.
I know.
I
makes
know.
you
That's
faster.
I haven't shaved my head since swimming. We had to shave them one year, and it looked awful. And everyone told me not to do it again. But I had some confidence.
It probably looked better than before when you had the. Did you have like the chlorine burned hair?
Yeah. There were a
Yeah,
lot of
I'm-
things that made it.
I remember that when I
Not
was
great.
in school.
Yeah. But anyways, back to the movie. I was gonna ask you what you think of the length of this film, because it is. I mentioned to Jeff before we started recording. It's shorter than our last podcast episode.
Oh, really?
So if
yeah, I was
it's-
gonna say, how long is it?
it's like an hour and 10, I think, is what I
Yeah.
noticed when I watched it. But
Love
plus, also, I would just like to say this is kind of off topic, but the best scene in the film is after the credits, kind of, or during the credits, where it's like a concert scene, and Matt basically he like goes into the crowd and then goes outside of the crowd,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
and Tom is following him. That is a really great scene.
Yeah, it doesn't it like just like sum up the movie perfectly.
It sums it up perfectly because there's something like kind of silly and funny about it, but also really charming and touching.
Oh yeah,
Just him following his brother and but it's kind of goofy. I don't know. And just seeing the way Matt performs. He is, can I just say, is like one of the most like passionate performers I've seen.
Oh, yeah.
Like he gets
He's-
really into it.
he's the fucking man, dude.
Yeah.
I've seen him live. I think 3 times, maybe.
That's awesome.
But they actually have only been my favorite band like since like I was maybe 23 or 24. I think I got into them, so
Okay.
only like 6 years. But I've seen them every time they've come through Chicago, and yeah, I mean he brings it, dude. And
That's
it's
awesome.
interesting because he used to when he lived in New York, he would get super drunk on stage. Like he'd just be like pounding
Yeah.
whiskeys or whatever, and he'd get really fucked up. And then I think he talked about this in a podcast, and he was like had to like stop doing that. And then but then he moved to California like I think a couple years ago, and he got really into weed, and it's very funny, and he's very self-deprecating about it. He's like the worst. He like when the podcasts I've heard, he's just always like kind of making fun of himself for being like a major rock star and like also just being this like I guess at the time he's probably in his early 40s, just who like dad who gets super into weed all of a sudden. And so like he stopped drinking on stage and started vaping, and it's like he's so funny, man. It's just like he's in some ways he's the perfect rock star, and in some ways he's like such like the antithesis of it. And he walks that line of like approachable and rock star god in a way that I really am into.
Right. Yeah. I guess the same could be said about the like the documentary. It just I seem like it's very self-aware, the same way the band is kind of. Which is why I kind of want to get into them now.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I love about it and when his mom says it, she kind of touches on it, and I think it's so interesting and so true to any artistic discipline, whether it's that or what we do or you know anything, is when she said like Tom was always the most creative but didn't know how to channel it, and Matt was always very ambitious and knew how to like package himself a little bit. She doesn't use those exact words, but that's kind of what she implies. Yeah. Which is like what you have to be a rock star. Is like he knows who he is, he's very in control. Like even in the film, you know, when he looks bad, you know, he like blows up after some shows and stuff, but it's always he's very in control of like how he's being presented, because you know they have to protect themselves and stuff like that. But that's fascinating to me too, like that idea of like from a young age this dude just had all of this like sporadic creativity, he didn't know how to focus, and Matt, like who's also very creative obviously, like was better at almost, I won't say the business side, like
but like when they showed the artwork they did when they were younger.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, where Matt's was like much more, it was like much more straightforward, and like, I mean, not straightforward in terms of artistic style, obviously, but it was just he had a very clear vision. So it was like a very simple piece of art that was like this abstract, you know, Picasso like thing. Yeah. And then Tom's was just this like insane, like graphic novel. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. About like legs.
It's I mean, that was probably one of my favorite chunks in the movie, is the stuff from at home with his parents talking.
Also, his parents both seem so creative. Yeah. Like, you know, it's like the mom in like the art workshop, and then the dad in like the like workshop.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're from Cincinnati, which is not in any way like, you know, it's not Brooklyn. It's not.
Not an art hub.
Yeah. It's not LA. It's, you know, it's Cincinnati. It's Midwest. And so to have, you know, those kind of salt of the earth artists are pretty interesting to me.
Yeah. I also really liked the scene where he's got all the Post-its up, kind of trying to map out his... Yeah. Oh, yeah. That, I think, shows the difference between the two brothers in a really subtle, or not subtle, but, like, original way. And it's also, it says, like, that's not necessarily a bad... Like, it makes Tom out to be maybe, like, disorganized, or, like, he doesn't have it together, but it just shows, like, there's two different ways of approaching what they want to do, and it's kind of reassuring by the end.
That was the scene that I felt was the most played up for the film. Yeah, like when he was explaining the system of the Post-it notes. Yeah. I'm like, okay, he's doing that because he knows it's like deliberately confusing. Yeah. Right? Well, like in the different colored, he's like, what do the dots mean? He's like, well, the dots don't mean anything except for the green ones.
Yeah, I mean, that's like the thing, is like, how much is it? Because when he's interviewing, I think it's Bryce that he's interviewing, one of the twins, and he just goes like, cool, what do you want? And he just is like, how fast can you play the guitar? Who can play the guitar faster? It's like these questions that it's like he had to have known how funny that question.
It's like a question that like a 6-year-old would ask.
Yeah. I will say that's the part to me that, and I don't know, I could be totally wrong, like, but that's the part to me that sticks out as like being the most telling of their pushing a narrative, was when I think it's Bryce, it might have been Aaron, but I think it's Bryce, was like talking about, he has a little bit of resentment towards Matt, how Matt's the front man of the band. You know what I'm talking about? Where he's like, you know, it's Matt, he gets what he wants, or whatever. It felt put on. It felt a little bit like he was acting there. Like, I don't know, I could be wrong about it, but I was like, that just seems like too perfect of a, like, making Matt out to be the kind of egotistical front man. Right. That they wanted him to kind of be a little bit, but I could be wrong. But that's the one part I remember sticking out to me specifically, where I was like, I think he's not as good of an actor, and it's telling a little bit that he's trying to push this narrative.
Yeah, there was also the part where I forget which band member it was, but they were like, "I thought you were gonna ask questions about me," and because he was
That's
asking,
That
that's
part.
the part.
Was that the same interview? Okay,
yeah. That's the part I'm talking about. Yeah. And I could be wrong. It could be totally genuine.
I was agreeing with that.
Yeah, he's an amazing musician, but
No, yeah.
as an actor, I was kind of like, this seems maybe a little fake, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I really enjoyed this documentary a lot, especially because I really had no idea what to expect going into it, having never listened to The National. I mean, it for someone like me, because I think it like there's always a sense of bias with documentaries if you like have an interest in the subject beforehand. Like obviously you're gonna like it to a certain extent, but for this doc to make me care not only about The National but the brother of the lead, like someone so far from my interest, like I don't know, it says a lot how much it held my attention and how, I mean, kind of like you said, how layered it is, how much it's accomplishing at the same time, especially for such a short period of time.
Yeah, it's very clear, and I think going back to what you had said earlier about the difference, like with the post-it notes of how the brothers, break down their process or whatever. Like, I think part of the reason it's shorter is because it's so efficient with like the themes that it, the main being these kind of the relationship between these two brothers. And I think like even in the first scene where Matt's sitting under that umbrella and like the air cast, and I think they're at Prospect Park, but I could be wrong because I think they lived right around there, but he's like sitting in the park and he's like hammering the thing in or whatever. And he's like, all right, what are your questions? And he kind of like, Tom doesn't really have questions for him. He's like, so what's, like what's going on? And he just like blows up on him. He's like, what are you talking, dude, if you're going to like make a movie, have some questions ready. Like, and it's like right away, Matt. And I think that's another interesting thing about the film is how Tom gets under Matt's skin in a way that like Matt is this like perpetual rock star kind of like untouchable figure in so many ways, but Tom will do something that pisses him off and he immediately is like an older brother, like, what the fuck are you thinking, man? I mean, that's that I think like and I think that's probably why it's on the shorter end of the thing is just because it's like it's so efficient with like the kind of three threads that it follows, where it's like this movie's about this, it's about this, and it's about this, and every scene serves one of those.
Right.
There's not much fat on it.
Exactly. I also just want to quickly mention this scene. This is probably my favorite part in the movie. I think I've said that already twice during this podcast, but the part where he meets Will Arnett, I think it is, or John. Okay. I played it back just 3 different times because I wanted to see like Matt's face during the whole thing, because it's like you could just see it in his face how like embarrassed he gets so quickly. It's so fun to watch. Just all the celebrities looking at him.
What happens with Arnett in that one? I do remember that because I remember thinking like I wondered if Arnett was in on it. What happened exactly? In that scene?
Well, he came off like angry at first or something. No, he was like, he was like, "Are you okay with him filming?" And he's like, "Yeah, of course." And then Tom was like, "My name's Tom, by the way." And Will's like, "I don't care about your name." And then like laughed and then like,
I
didn't ask what your name was. And then
yeah.
It was just, and you could just see when he said that Matt was kind of traumatized. He was like, oh god. But I don't know, it's just such a fun scene to watch.
Dude, when they meet Obama and like Tom wants to meet Obama and that conversation in the back of the car where he's just like, I wanted to meet Obama, and he's like, dude, they said no. Like I can't.
He's like,
I can't change the Secret Service's mind.
That he thought he could like film that interaction as well.
Oh yeah, just like and that's the stuff where I'm like, what planet? It's so fucking funny, man. And you can see it in Matt's face too, where Matt's just like, no, like what are you talking about? Yeah. And just like the build up too, the way they edit it together is perfect, of like Tom getting nervous and like talking, like you can't wait to meet him. And then they're like, hey, camera's off. And then it cuts to them in the car and he's like, I wanted to meet Obama.
Great. Well, I've said, I feel like I could talk about this all day, but I've said everything I feel like I have to say for the time being.
I probably said too many things about the film for people who haven't seen it. I basically talked about all my favorite parts.
How long do you think we could talk about this film where like no one would finish it? Like what length would it have to be where every single person would stop listening at some point?
I mean, I'm assuming
I guess probably there's probably not too many. If they're not a National fan, they're probably not super interested.
I can now that we upload these to YouTube, I can see the audience retention rate.
Just like how it
shit.
tapers off.
I can see it go down.
Crap.
Cool. Well, I here's the thing about usually we rate the films, but with documentaries I tend not to. So I think I'm just gonna skip out on the rating today and say I liked it a lot.
I'll rate it an A+.
An A+. All right.
I'm
cool.
just kidding. No, if I could make one last pitch for it, I do think you don't have to be a national fan to appreciate it. I think it's about fame and about family. And
Yes.
I think those are the main themes more than the fact that it happens to be the national, but you could not like them. And
Yeah.
I 100% agree with that, and I still think that the poster comparing it to Spinal Tap is so dumb. This is so not like Spinal Tap.
yeah, I agree. I mean, it's definitely, I think it's like, it has some laughs and it's about the music industry, and that's where the comparison ends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that was Mistaken for Strangers. It's available on Amazon Prime. I think I tried to find a place where you can stream it without paying, but it's as of now, it's only available for rent on Amazon. But it's totally worth it. I loved this film.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
And I'd watch it again. So
I'm so glad I picked one. I was afraid because you guys are both big film buffs. And
I'm
not
pretty
a huge
open to...
Karsten is. Not really.
I'm open to whatever. Jeff has...
But Carson, you also appreciate things about film that not that I don't appreciate, but maybe is not at the top of my list as much, you know? And so I was very nervous when Jeff asked me to do this that I'd pick a bad movie, and I was going to be like, have you guys seen The Dark Knight? I do like The Dark Knight, but like...
If you had ever listened to this podcast, you would have been probably not even not nervous, just like refused to do the podcast.
Yeah. Jeff is
like, I'm happy to talk about movies.
Whenever I pick a movie, it's always like most valuable primate.
Yeah.
Really?
Like, let's watch
we've done
the
that.
John Taylor Thomas film, the Christmas film.
Oh, jeez. I kind of thought you guys would be like into like French art films, like art house films. And
I
stuff.
love those kind of films, but
he likes them, but like, they're not that fun to talk about. Like, I keep trying to get him to watch From Justin to Kelly, that movie that that came out after the first season of American Idol.
I do know that movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we either talk about films that are. It's usually either very good or very bad. Is like generally how we go.
I'd like to say, and this is kind of just for Jeff, but I've been watching more Elaine May films this week. And if anybody knows, she directed Ishtar, and she is a really good. I want to rewatch Ishtar now because she is so good at what she does.
I just rewatched Ishtar 2 days ago.
I saw that. Yeah, she's hilarious.
Do you have the same passion for like television that you do for film?
When I get into a TV show, I get into it. Like, it is all that matters. Like, for example, I just finished BoJack. I don't know if you've seen it.
I have not gotten into it, but I know people love it.
Yeah, I big fan of that. But that's the thing. I don't go out of my way to watch shows as much as I should. Like, I still haven't seen like Sharp Objects or Big Little Lies or whatever those other shows are. Game of Thrones, I never got into that. So, yeah, I guess not really. But
okay,
I still love TV.
Yeah. I'm definitely the opposite.
The Good Place. Okay.
Oh, okay. You want to watch The Good Place?
Yeah,
or you
I
want
to watch it. I've heard it's really good. But
yeah, I've seen the first 3 seasons. Cool. I just haven't seen like the last season.
Okay.
But
I didn't know how many seasons there were, so I was like, maybe there's only 3 and he's making a joke. Okay. Dan, what are some of your favorite TV shows while we're on the topic? I mean, like, what would you recommend that's out right now?
Dude, you know what? I just finished season 2 of Succession.
Okay, I've heard so many good things about it.
That's a great. I mean, it's a soap opera, but it's great. I mean, it's super interesting.
Yeah.
I love that show. I love. What else have I watched recently? You know, I mean, I just went back and watched. What's it called? Oh, Eastbound and Down. Some of the Eastbound and Down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Season 1 is like perfect.
Yeah,
it's like so good. And then it's always funny, but it definitely gets into some dicey material at certain points. But that show really that made me laugh. I think I thought about it because I watched The Righteous Gemstones, the new Danny McBride show.
Okay.
a couple months ago, and that show was fantastic. It was so good.
Nice.
Yeah, I think those are probably the two that I've probably Succession and Righteous Gemstones are probably the two that I've recommended the most over the last few months.
Cool.
But my favorite show of all time, like the thing I can sit down and watch, is probably The Office. Pretty unoriginal,
nice.
but so good.
No, it's
That's the classic for like a Tinder profile.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
You're
it
looking
really
for
is like
a
our
Pam.
generation's Friends, and I'm kind of like, it's great. I don't know.
It is great. Yeah.
I got
should
into
rewatch
Curb. I've been watching Curb Your Enthusiasm, which is super
I still
funny.
have never seen it, and I feel like I'd love it a lot.
Okay, on Netflix, there's
Yeah.
this this crime documentary about a murder where the guy is exonerated because he is in the B-roll for a scene of Curb Your Enthusiasm that was filmed at a baseball game.
Really?
Yeah. It's like this 40-minute like kind of weird length documentary
What's
that's
it
on
called?
Netflix. I forget what it's called.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like this guy, they're saying he like committed a murder, and the only thing they could prove that his alibi was that he was at this baseball game, and it just happened to be an episode, like a baseball game where they were filming an episode of Curb.
Wow.
That is so funny.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's the weirdest.
Cool.
What about you guys? What shows are you guys into?
Oh man. I just said BoJack. I guess that's on the mind right
That's
now.
your only answer.
That's
the
my only
show
answer.
you
Yeah.
watch.
I've been watching Fleabag. I really like Fleabag.
Oh,
It
Fleabag
is-
is another one I should have said. Yeah, I do like Fleabag.
It's so sharp, and you could watch the whole thing in a night. I mean, not really. It's like that'd be like 6 hours, but it's so good.
Yeah,
I really love it.
That one's cool because that one feels like she wrote it as a play. Like it feels
Yeah.
the most like live kind of theatrical show I've ever seen filmed. Even the way
Yeah.
that you don't know the characters' names or whatever, you know. Like I think like it's fantastic. It's such a perfect and good for her for like kind of cutting it off after 2 seasons and being like, no, that's the story I wanted to tell.
I didn't know that. I still haven't finished it, so I didn't know there was
Yeah,
not a new
haven't started
season.
it.
Wow.
But
Yeah,
it's
I think
on my list
I
of things
think
to
Amazon offered her quite a lot of money for like season 3, and she was like, no, I
Wow.
yeah.
Good for her. Yeah, I always like that. That's something I wish The Office did, was cut it off earlier. But it's not
Dude,
like
so-
those last few seasons are good or bad. I mean,
Yes, I'm a huge American Office sympathizer. I think it is given a bad rap where I'm like, I think they had like 4 excellent seasons and then 2 really good seasons and then like 3 okay seasons.
Yeah.
And like, even when the show was like not its best, like after Michael left or whatever, like if you go back and watch, there are still some like absolutely classic character bits. It's like, you know, the Jim Pam storyline has resolved
Yeah.
itself, so the like tension, the love triangle's not there, unfortunately, but like just like in terms of straight up bits, it is so funny.
Creed is consistently funny for all 9 seasons.
Dude, I was just gonna say, and I think they jumped the shark a little bit with Creed in the last couple, but it's so funny. It's like it's the one piece that just exists outside of a believable world.
Yeah.
Where like I think my favorite bit ever on that show is when they do the cold open where they run on they're like doing parkour or whatever. They run on the roof, and it's like a 2-second shot, and they never talk about it. And it's just they're on the roof, and Creed is standing there with the remote control helicopter, and it's hovering a foot in front of him, like 2 feet off the ground, and he's just staring at it. And they just run past him, and they never talk about what he's doing up there. And I'm like, how that got pitched in a writer's room and like how they shot, it's so funny to me. It's like that's like a perfect Creed bit.
Wow. I never noticed that. So that just makes it's even
There's
funnier when
also, dude, sorry to pop off on this, but
No.
there's also the Sweeney Todd episode. Tim Lyons pointed this out to me. In the Sweeney Todd episode, there's a bit with Creed where in the first act, so like before the first commercial break, he has a line where he doesn't realize that it's a play, where he like thinks that people are like actually being murdered. But then in the third act, they reveal that he's actually a reviewer. So like even within the episode, his like logic doesn't match up. It's like because they're both just like offhanded throwaway jokes. But in the
Yeah.
one, like in act 1, he's kind of like, careful, boss. He's like I just watched him kill somebody or whatever. And then in act 3, he's like calling in a review for the local paper about the play. So it's like even within the 22 minutes, his storylines don't match
Yeah.
up, and it's like so funny to me.
Man. I want to rewatch The Office now. If you get one takeaway from this podcast, it's to revisit The Office.
Yeah, I'm a sucker.
Yeah.
It's hack, or not hack. It's cliche, but I love it.
Cool. Well, we have 3 quick little Q&A. If you guys are cool with getting into those.
Let's do it.
Sweet. I'll do never mind. I was going to do the Q&A transition music, but I don't really.
Isn't it just, is there actually music or is it just like one sound?
It's just a whistle. It's just, now we're in the Q&A bit.
Oh yeah. We actually have a soundboard.
Yeah, I really have held back
podcast.
on the soundboard today.
Yeah. Can you just give Dan a quick demo of some of the sounds we have?
That's it.
I love
That
it.
was it.
Well,
You
got
guys have a
more.
binary soundboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have, where is it?
It's one of 2.
Yeah. Anyways, we have some questions today from the subreddit. 2 of these come from the same person. They're great questions. The first one is from Tyrannus Rex. It is, what is the first thing you guys will do once we are able to go outside again? P.S. Thanks for keeping the pod up and running while we're all in quarantine. It means a lot to have a good laugh. Love you guys. Stay safe. Thank you. We love you too.
That's a very
Heartfelt.
nice postscript message.
Yeah. So what is the first thing you guys will do when you get out? Or do you guys have any ideas? I guess.
I mean, because in the U.S., it's not like a strict quarantine, so you can still go on walks.
Yeah.
But in terms of like first things that you can do that you currently can't do, I don't know. I kind of want to go to like parks again because a lot of things like parks are closed. Like maybe the Garfield Park Conservatory would be fun to go to.
Yeah. I miss concerts a lot. I'm very excited to go to shows again. Like those were they'd be like the event of the month for me. And
Do you have any tickets any concert tickets you've bought that you had to either got refunded or you don't know if you're gonna be able to go to?
I was gonna go to Pitchfork, but
What day?
still. I was day. Oh shit! What day was it? Who was I gonna go to see again? I forget.
Because the Nationals playing on Sunday. I already got my tickets.
That's right. The Nationals playing. I don't think I was going the National Day to be
Okay.
honest.
Yeah.
Who was I going to see? I forget. But yeah. They said they might still do it, but there's no way. There's no way at
Yeah,
all.
I don't think so. I was bummed about that because I had never seen the National play like a
Festival.
Like when I saw him the first time, it was at the Chicago Opera House, which was a very cool concert, but it was very different than like being outside.
Yeah.
So I was a little bummed to miss that, but
That's understandable.
I had tickets to see Tallest Man on Earth at the Old Town School of Folk Music, and the ticket was for literally the day the like stay at home order started. So he played the night before, and then they canceled the one that mine was for.
they always do those 2-night things there too.
Yeah, he actually was like his was 2 nights and then expanded it to 4 nights.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
I saw Ockerville River play there. That's a cool venue to see people. It's very intimate.
I really like the Old Town School of Folk music.
Yeah.
I saw Mountain Man. I don't know if you guys listen to Sylvan Esso, but it's the lead singer, her folk band. It's really good. It was a great time.
Bon Iver. Am I saying that correctly? Bon Iver?
I think it's Bone.
Bon Iver?
Bon Iver. Yeah. Bone
Whatever.
Iver.
Yeah, he's the guy that the one brother tours with that I couldn't remember the name earlier.
Oh, nice.
They toured together.
Okay.
Deeply.
Because Bon Iver has that Eau Claire not film festival, just the music festival in Eau Claire, Wisconsin that he does. And I went a few years ago. I think it was their second year. And I think the National was there. And I watched them live for a hot second. And I was like, this is cool. And then I went somewhere else. But
They do a really cool festival in Cincinnati. They call it Homecoming because that's obviously it's like their homecoming. And they get some big, I mean, actually this year it wasn't quite as good. The first year it was really stacked. I think Bon Iver might have even been on the list, but they bring there was 5 or 6 big time bands. And it was cool because I'm like, when you go see Lollapalooza or whatever, or Coachella, it's like so many people. This is literally in Cincinnati, so it's a lot of people, but it's so much more manageable than the major music festivals.
Is it a lot
here.
of Cincinnati bands?
I mean, I'm sure there's some local ones, but no, it's national bands.
Okay,
it's the national headlines, but it's 2 nights.
Who are other famous bands from Cincinnati?
I don't know.
it's embarrassing to say this, but I think 21 Pilots is from Cincinnati. I had a big high school phase where I was into them, and I know they're from Ohio, but
I think
That's all I know.
oh God, who sings Game of Pricks? God, I'm not I'm not good with anything. I'm just in general, I'm kind of dumb. Oh God, it's like on the tip of my tongue. Whatever, they're from Dayton though.
Okay.
Yeah, because Tampa doesn't
I gotta
have
look this up.
a great music scene either.
No.
Because the only actual like
Tampa,
large
you guys
band
got a
I know
big
from
ska
Tampa
scene,
is
don't
the
you?
Backstreet Boys.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, we have the Backstreet Boys, so
Oh, nice.
that's cool.
We have Prince.
But
so.
Gainesville is big for ska. Oh, Guided by Voices is the band I couldn't think of. They're from Dayton.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
Gainesville is big ska town, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Also, Tom Petty's from Gainesville.
Oh shit.
Nice.
Yeah, he's probably more reputable than Less Than Jake.
Well, I think that answers the question on what
Yeah,
we're
that
going to
probably
do
answers
when
that
we get out.
That's what happens in this. We always talk
get-
about something else.
It takes a while to get through one question. This next one, also from Tyrannus Rex, is what is your favorite pair of shoes you've ever owned? I thought this was a really specific question, but I do have an answer. I had these like blue. It was my first pair of New Balances. I really like New Balance. They're great sneakers, and they're these blue ones. I don't remember the specific like model name, but I wore them to death, and I still wear them sometimes. And that's my
New
answer.
Balance is tough because it's all numbers. Their shoe names are all numbers.
They are. Yeah, you're right. I don't know what to call them, but yeah. What about you guys? Maybe I'm the only one that has an answer for this, but
No, I didn't answer.
Okay,
It's
all right.
but okay. I've actually answered this on this podcast before. It might have been like a recommendation because Dan, we used to have a recommendation segment, but then both of us always forgot that we had that segment, so we would always just make something up by looking around the room.
yeah.
So I think I did that once, and it's my Nike Flyknit like running shoes, just because they're like super like lightweight, and also you don't need to wear socks with them. They're
The
like
rainbow
made
ones?
Mine, because they come in like a lot of different colors. So mine, like the ones I have now, are like just kind of like speckled gray.
Yeah.
Got it.
I think you have recommended that before, but moving on. What about you, Dan?
I don't know if I could pick. I
No?
wear
All right.
the Reebok Club C's a lot currently. They seem to last me a good amount of time.
Okay.
When I was a runner, the Nike Pegasus was my favorite running shoe.
Those are great shoes. I love
Yeah. Well, they were just like the best blend of affordability and quality.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh, I'm also real quick changing my answer for the first question.
Okay.
The first thing I'm going to do is go see Fudge at the IO Theater in Chicago.
There we go. Nice. It's a great answer. Jeff.
Thank you. Yeah.
Cool. Well, we have one more. It is from Egyptian_reggae. It is when you go to a restaurant, are you most likely to have a starter or a dessert? Kind of a weird question. We were long questions this week, but that's what we got. I'm more likely to have a starter.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know about you guys.
Gotta go starter.
someone's-
Desserts are
yeah.
overpriced.
Desserts are way overpriced.
They also
Yeah.
most of the
I
time
don't pay
have nuts in them.
$7. I'd rather get some
Yeah.
like chicken wings and like a fucking
Right.
brownie.
Some
Yeah.
cheese
and,
curds.
okay, and the other thing about desserts is that since you're already done eating, you can just go like buy something at a grocery store on your way home that's going to be way cheaper
Yeah, that's
because you're already done eating. You
Yeah.
don't need to sit there longer.
And also,
Ben and
guys,
Jerry's.
can I give a little dating advice here?
I mean, you married, so yeah.
Exactly. So if anyone fucking knows,
You're the guy with the wife.
how
I
to
don't know.
close the deal.
Your advice is just to get married.
Yeah. The whole point, if you're dating, the whole point is to get married.
Right.
No, dude, dessert, you go to another joint. If the
Yeah.
night's going well and you're like,
Yeah.
I'm vibing, she's vibing, we're vibing. Be like, this is so good. You know what? There's a great dessert place. Let's go there. Because then you're building in wait time. You're building in like travel time. You're like extending the night.
Yep.
You know, next thing you know, it's 2 a.m. and you're popping the question.
I would like to say on that note, like if you have a Jenny's ice cream near you, I
Oh, yeah.
really love Jenny's ice cream. It's a great,
So-
yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
Jenny's
I used
ice
to
cream.
know someone who worked there, so I got it for free sometimes.
Dude, you know somebody who was Jenny's personal assistant, Jeff.
What?
Kyle Bethay was like Jenny's personal assistant for like a year and a half in Columbus.
what?
Yeah, like he was her right-hand man. That Jenny's has followed my like they started right before I got to Ohio State. They like opened their first location in Columbus, and then they all through college they were like the place to go. And I moved to Chicago, and then like a month after I moved to Chicago, they opened their Southport location, and now they're like everywhere in the country. But they started in Columbus, and Kyle knew Jenny. He was like her personal assistant. He said she's brilliant.
Do they pump like the smell into the street?
I'm sure. I know that Garrett Popcorn
the vicinity
does. I don't
smells
know
like the
I'm
ice
sure
cream
they
that makes
do.
you want to eat it.
Yeah.
But I feel like Kyle would be a really good personal assistant.
Oh yeah, he's on top of his stuff for sure.
Yeah.
And that's what she needed apparently. She was like, he said she was not the best, like, I mean, she was very busy, but like not the best organized with like keeping meetings and knowing when to be on calls and stuff. But you put her in front of like a bunch of ingredients, and he was like, she just like her brain just clicked. He said it was like watching a masterwork. It was crazy.
Wow. I'm gonna take your
So
word
I feel
for it.
watching you do improv.
Oh my god, dude! I like everyone hates improv right now. So I spent 6 years developing a skill set that right when I got good, everybody decided it's for fucking nerds.
Wow.
It's
I got
true, look at me.
rejected from the DePaul improv team when I auditioned, so
Really?
You're making me feel a lot.
I got rejected from Ohio State's improv team.
Oh, that makes me feel wow.
Yeah.
Anything's possible. 'Cause you're
I mean, I made it the next time I went out. So,
Yeah,
but yeah,
so, yeah.
first
Yeah,
time.
Was Nate,
Not possible.
was Nate on that team with you?
Nate was on it. Nate made it. Nate made it when I didn't.
Yeah, Nate also was in that commercial with J-Lo.
J-Lo, yeah. Yeah. He said that they were well, I think I can say this. It's nothing. He just said that it was like he was there, as you would expect. He was there for like 6 hours, and she was there for like 30 minutes. And they were like, everybody was like, we got to get these shots. Because it's J-Lo. You're not going to fucking hang out. And he said she walked on, said hello. They did their lines, and she was gone. He was like in and out.
She got the biggest paycheck.
I hope I
of the
can
day.
say that. He said she was nice, but
Yeah. Nice. Well, that does it for questions. I mean,
Yeah,
that's all we
so
got.
now
Great
we have meme of the week, which usually we don't have guests on for this bit, but we'll make it quick. And now we have video. We can do like screen sharing.
Yeah. It's
just so you can experience. You know, we want to get some like outside opinion on what the best meme this week is.
I don't want to spend too much time on this.
Yeah, we'll just do like a few minutes.
One, because it's kind of chaos on it right now because I shaved my head and there's a lot already. I didn't expect this much, but okay, we'll share.
love it.
So this is what we got right now. So what Jeff I think why Jeff wants to do this is because
this
for
is
some
nuts.
reason
So your fans make these?
Yeah,
they just so they've made this like
Dude.
Jeff Appreciation Week. So I'm just gonna scroll through a bunch of these.
Oh my god!
So, I don't know why. Yeah. So Jeff, I don't know where
For
you
some
wanted to go
reason,
with
they
this.
keep putting my head on like Renaissance paintings.
Yeah. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna go
'Cause
to.
you have very Victorian features, Jeff.
Yeah. We'll just. I don't know why we haven't done this lately. We're just gonna do top of the week.
Oh, I don't. Yeah, that makes it easier. I didn't know you
Yeah.
could do that.
So this is okay. This is a bit going on in the podcast that I really like. Is that I don't. Also, Jeff, I'm sure you didn't know about this. There was the part in last week's episode where me and Jeff cut out, and it was a good like minute and a half. And I said I was going to cut it, and I did not cut it for the audio podcast. So there's a minute and a half of just me
Just dead space.
typing. Yeah. So a lot of stuff about that one. Yeah. So Jeff, I'm going to let you take control of this because I didn't know what you wanted to.
I mean, we're sharing your screen,
sharing
so
my
I can't
screen,
really
so you
take
can't
control
really
of that.
know.
I mean, we were just gonna scroll through like a couple from this week. You know, just
Yeah.
scroll through them real quick. Dan will help us pick whatever the best.
Oh, hold
one
on!
is.
I like this Baby Driver one. Did someone throw a cube in there?
I can explain the Baby Driver thing.
Yeah.
So remember when I did the Cube Driver?
That's
Twitter?
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So this was actually a banner image created by some like person who works for Nissan's social media team,
Wow,
and they sent that to me.
Yeah.
that's
Like
fantastic.
I didn't make that. Someone at Nissan made that.
It's really
Damn,
good.
dude.
I would like to say, like, not to say the cube thing is that's not an obscure thing, but because Jeff has been such a mysterious part of this podcast, because people have been like searching all over the internet for whatever they can find on him. And as a result, we have a lot of really obscure Jeff.
Are you serious?
We have
Holy
this.
cow.
We really like this fan art, although I don't. Jeff's mustache.
The mustache. I was saying that's the reverse Hitler with that mustache.
Oh
not
man, Jeff, you look like a one of those like telenovela characters.
Yeah. Oh, here's one of the. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
terrifying.
I do.
Okay. Also, I don't know where my Catholics at, but that is like when Jesus was getting on his way to get crucified, and they wiped his face, and then he had like his face on the fucking
So
cloth.
this is a very blasphemous image.
I mean, I don't know if that's what it's intended, but that's like one of the like stories from the Stations of the Cross.
Jeff Spitz from last episode. He said his number was 1 for. I don't remember why.
It wasn't a good joke. It was
joke.
I said my phone number was 1 because that was the number of phones I had.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
that actually.
wouldn't have
Hey,
made
don't
the
undersell
cut
that joke. Don't undersell that joke, Jeff. That's a good joke.
I don't know why this exists. We've never referenced feet. I don't. And someone said I'm too afraid to ask why this exists, and I am too because I don't remember this being a bit ever. So we'll
wait.
Go
back up. Oh no, never mind. I thought I might.
There's another one.
There's another.
Look at
It's
that.
always the same face.
Dude,
Yeah, I mean,
that
it's one person.
is
It's one person
so
making these.
Funny. Oh my god. Dude, I love this.
Jeff has a very.
You guys talk a lot about religion on here? What's going on?
We don't. We do.
Can I submit a question? What's your favorite religion and least favorite religion?
Actually, favorite and least favorite are both Scientology.
Oh, that's a good
Yeah.
cop out.
Yeah. I went to me and my friends went into one of those Scientology buildings as a bit freshman year. Jaxie was, and we realized like you can't just go in there and walk out.
I was just gonna say that's not a bit, dude.
No.
Also,
like
you'll
you-
never work in Hollywood now.
No.
Yeah.
We went in there and they wanted us to look at a bunch of things or sign a bunch of things. And as soon as that happened, we were like, okay, bye. It was
Actually,
really
hey,
scary.
now that place is terrifying. Everything I've
so
seen, but
scary.
you actually, as we talk about
Yeah.
this, it actually does remind me of a show I just watched that I think I would recommend. That is very good. It's on Netflix. It's only 4 episodes. It's like a mini series.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Unorthodox.
Okay.
And it's about like Hasidic Jews in Williamsburg, and it's fascinating. It's a culture that I like knew kind of culturally, like I recognize them on the streets, you know, but I didn't know much about their religion, and it really gets into a lot of the nitty gritty of it. And it's fascinating.
That sounds.
It's kind of upsetting, but it's really good.
Yeah. I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say I'm also from Clearwater, Florida, which is the world capital of Scientology.
Is it really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
So like I've gone to concerts in Clearwater before, and when you get back to your car, there's like Scientology pamphlets on your car.
Oh my
Whoa.
god.
Why is Clearwater so big?
I don't know, but the whole city is like owned by the Scientologists.
Huh.
And they have like their giant mega church there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
You got a lot of interesting backstory, Jeff.
Yeah. Anyways, so what was your favorite meme, Dan?
Dude, I gotta say, these are all great. I do like I like the ones with religious undertones.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
I think.
All right. Yeah.
That's my favorite.
This
That's
one's
my
really
favorite.
good. This.
Yeah.
Because
It's just a very good Photoshop.
it can't be. It seems like it just is so similar to that story from the
It's
you know,
like
the Stations of the
Shroud.
Cross, but it can't be because there's like a castle in the background, so it
Yeah.
probably is just. But yeah,
Yeah.
I like that one.
I like the uncut part bit. That
That
good.
was funny.
It's also
That's a
really
good
good
one, too.
Photoshop too. I don't know why the lighting on the face at all. It's a good job.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
fine.
I might have done a little bit of. I might have blurred the hand a little
Blurred
bit.
the
There's a little
hand,
bit-
make it match.
Yeah, it's a little too much.
Yeah.
Little strong juxtaposition, but it's
Right.
good. It is
really
good.
subtle joke here is that this is a review written by Jeff. If you can see, really
Ha!
tiny right there.
That is
Nice
good.
Little small joke.
That is fantastic.
What about you, Jeff? I mean, you have a lot to pick from, being that it's Jeff Appreciation Week.
I don't know. I think I'm gonna agree with Dan on this one.
That one, right there.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Either that one or like the other one that was similar.
All right. Nice. Well, that does it for
Dan. Has gotten pretty good at Photoshop himself.
Thank you.
You've had a lot of practice making the Whiffler research group. Like,
dude,
posters.
I found those files recently. I've come so far from that. It's truly, I think I'm very good at photo editing because of Twitter. I just learned to photo edit like crazy. And now I use everything, but
yep. I think that I realized that I'm never going to be good at Twitter.
No, you're pretty good at Twitter, Jeff. I don't know what you're talking about. You have some good.
Yeah, I just don't think I have like. I don't know what people want to see, because I even like a few months ago went like to Dan's Twitter and then told him about one specific tweet from like a year ago. That was like the UPS one.
Wait,
Dan, where it's like, it was the one where you said you bought, or no, not UPS, or like you bought like a delivery
FedEx
van.
truck, yeah.
A FedEx truck, yeah. Yeah, and that was like so funny to me. And then you're like, I'll try to retweet it, and then like 2 people liked it.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Well, yeah, Twitter's a weird game, man.
It was like best parts of having it, and like worst part, all your friends asking you to help them move.
Yeah. Oh, it was a U-Haul van.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's the case though, man. Some of your favorite stuff, like people kind of are like, oh, okay. And there's like stuff that I think is so fun.
Just briefly, I'm going to bring up before we get into our like final closing bit, that we made a web series together a couple years ago.
Yeah.
It comes full circle.
Kind of mentioned. Yeah, that we kind of mentioned paid research study.
I'm looking it up right now. I think I still pay for the website, so I think it's still online.
It was online as of like a couple like months ago.
You promoted it on the first episode, Jeff, and now we're promoting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the first episode of this was like, because it only came out January of last year, so it would have been like only about a month and a half since it came out for the first episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still think it's good.
Oh, I'm so proud of it, dude. I think it's
I mean, that's definitely the best thing I've helped make.
Thanks, man. I wrote a pilot out of it. I have a pilot script based on it because I thought it was so fun.
Dan, I'd also like to say I saw a cut of Ladies' Night, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was so funny.
Dude, thank you so much, man. That's all credit to Jaxie, the director, and Jonathan, the editor.
Jaxie did great, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, everybody. Nick,
GP,
I mean, everyone was so good. Thank you.
But
thank you, dude. I appreciate it. Yeah, I don't know what the plan is for that yet, but that was a really cool... Getting to work with TJ Jagodowski. It's like one of my all-time favorite comedians. Your fans will probably know him as... is fans the correct term? Am I using that correctly? What
listeners.
Okay. Listeners.
They listen, but they don't like
for granted that
they're your Karstenites. They would probably know him as the guy in the passenger seat of the Sonic commercials.
Right, yeah.
But
the
he
dumb
is
guy.
so, I mean, he is like other level fun. I mean, you were on set for a bit, Karsten.
He was a super nice guy. Yeah, I was on there
truly
for
the
a few
nicest
hours.
And also like the most respected improviser of all time. Just a hilarious, like, he got that Sonic money and was like, I'm good. I don't need like Hollywood career. And he just like, he lives a life, man. He's the best. He's truly, I think, one of the top 3 funniest people I've ever seen.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, if we still did recommendation of the week, that would be Dan's recommendation. Is
TJ and Dave, yeah.
Him as a person, yeah. Cool.
TJ's just degenerate.
Well, we'd like to wrap it up with reading a review from Chartable. We do this every week to remind you guys to leave a review. It really helps us out in the algorithm, I think. We still have not confirmed that. But this one comes from Jeep.s from the U.S. Subject line is the podcast, 5 stars, and it reads is good. So it's like the podcast is good. That's the joke. But thank you.
Yeah,
that's we'll take it. And lastly, we'd like to thank our patrons. If you would like to become a patron, go to patreon.com/Carscast. where you can get exclusive access to bonus episodes, Q&As, shout outs.
I'm not going to be a bonus episode, am I?
No,
you're like a real
full
episode.
main.
Yeah.
I'd be
thing is
so
that-
fucking pissed if you guys took an
Yeah.
hour and 15 minutes on a Saturday and then put me behind a paywall.
Right. Yeah. Especially because we only have like 20 patrons.
They would not. No.
So they would.
And not all of them listen to it. And one of them is Jeff's mom. So
Okay.
Yeah. One
nice.
of them is my mom.
Yep.
I'm kidding, of
Which
course.
I told her,
I'm kidding.
give me the $5 directly. Don't
Yeah.
put it into Patreon, but she didn't.
They go to me and then they
Yeah,
go to Jeff.
Patreon gets a
Yeah.
cut of that, Mom.
Yeah,
I know.
They do. So we'd like to thank Alex Davis, Allison Grace, Boat, Connor Holmes, Dr. Aneurysm, Eden, Ethan Kell, Hannah E., Holly Edwards, Iva, Jeff, seriously, there is a man behind you. This isn't a Patreon name. I fear for your life. Joshua Krzwicki, Josie Eiler, June Australian Winter, Martin Deff, Mary Lee Borslow, Moses Ox, Olivia Robinson, Philip Hagelberg, Ready Steady Ernie, Robert Burke, Sergio Palacio, Sophia Arieta, T. Sizzle, Vegard Strum, and Vera S. Thank you so much, guys.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So Dan, do you have any things you want to promote?
Yeah.
I would just plug my Twitter, which is at the @ and then the word AT Dan White. So @ AT Dan White.
Okay,
Yeah, that actually I've never thought about.
I never thought
'cause
that,
it looks
yeah.
really funny, but it's really hard for you to tell people.
I know.
how
It
to
verbally
find
it doesn't play for sure. But that would be the only thing. And what to make a lot of comments, whatever it takes, have these guys bring me back on here. Make some memes or
Yeah.
whatever.
What if it's just Dan Appreciation Week next week?
Yeah.
Dude,
A lot of this, but it's Dan.
I love it.
Yeah. Also,
No,
I would
thanks for
just-
having me on, though, guys. This is a really cool thing, and I'm happy to see you guys have such a crazy Reddit sycophants that are.
It's really just like 3 people posting this a lot of. So
Yeah.
I mean, don't be deceived.
It's just Jeff at like 3 a.m. photoshopping his own face on the Virgin Mary.
It's all Jeff's mom.
Look, I don't know who that is. Wow, they love me.
And I'd like to say once things blow over, if you're in Chicago, you should go see Fudge at I.
Oh yeah,
Because-
please do. We'd
And
love to
again,
have
that
you.
is his improv team.
Yes, Fudge.
That
It's not
you
just
to
a-
clarify.
yeah.
It's not just like
Yeah.
a block of.
That's
fudge.
true.
Yep.
If you want fudge, you got to go to Mackinac Island in Michigan.
Yeah.
Best fudge.
Cool. Well, I am out of things to say. Jeff, do you have anything else to say?
Okay, Dan. So this is gonna sound stupid, but this is just how we end the episode. I just want to, and then you also can say it. It's catch you on the flip side.
Catch you on the flip side.
Guys, I'll catch you on the flip side.